How to speak like a native English speaker. In a previous video, I said some things that some learners found to be controversial. Or they said to me, well, listen, we know that's the truth, but how dare you say that? You actually put the moose on the table, or you let the elephant out in the room. What did I say that was controversial? I personally didn't think it was controversial, but here's one thing that I said. Point number one, you need to be proud of who you are. You have decided to learn English for whatever reason that is. That's right, you need to be proud of who you are. What does the word proud mean? Proud means to have satisfaction or deep pleasure in something. And yes, I think that you need to be proud of the fact that you are learning English. Because most of you that are listening or watching this video, English is not your native language. So yes, you need to feel proud, appreciative, content of the fact that you are learning a new language that can benefit you both personally and professionally. So for those of you that say or have said to me, that's a controversial statement, well, you're entitled to your opinion. But I do recognize and I realize that there are is a percentage of learners that are not feeling proud. What reasons or what factors could that be? Reason number one, you have some learners out there, some members, part of the ATW family, that are being bullied, ridiculed by people within their own country, their families, their friends. They're being bullied and ridiculed because they don't sound the way that those individuals think that they should sound. They're being treated unfairly because they don't sound like a native, so they're being bullied. So bullying is one reason why a person might not feel proud. Reason number two, perhaps learners are being programmed and conditioned to think that the only way that they can learn the language is by speaking, acting, and sounding like a native. And so inherently they believe as though that there's something inherently wrong with them. That's kind of sad, or at least I think it's sad. Reason number three, why some people don't feel proud. Well, they choose to make a decision to follow content providers that are telling them that if they don't sound like a native, if they don't have native accent, that they are wrong, that they are less intelligent. That's certainly their choice, but I thought that English is a global international language. So those are particular reasons why some people might not feel proud, they might not feel content, they might not feel satisfied. And hopefully in the future that can change. And the only way that changes, I think, is that if you and I, but particularly you, make a decision to figure out and ask yourself the question, do you have a right to feel proud? Well, what's the other thing that I might have said that was controversial, that made some people feel a certain way? Want to know what I said? You will never be a native English speaker. And that is okay. That's right, I said it. I said it, I said it, I said it. You will never be a native English speaker. And you know what? I'll say it again. That's okay. Why? Because you were not born in a native English speaking country. So it's okay. People might have an assumption that you need to sound like a native. The industry might have an assumption that you might sound like a native, but here's the deal. I believe that you sound how you are. Be who you are. And Sounding like a native to me is not the most important thing. It does not mean that you cannot sound native-like, or in ESL terminology, be near native. But here's what I want you to think about. Can I share something a little personal with you? I'm really sick and tired of these conversations of native, non-native. Here's what I want you to think about. Here's what I've been thinking about. And here's an opportunity for you to think about. Is there an opportunity that we can, or you can, change the way that you're thinking? Perhaps open your mind. Why do I say that? Here's what my focus is on. Here's what I'm thinking about. It's not a question of speaking like a native or non-native. How about it's a question of speaking naturally? Speaking naturally, regardless of where you come from. And speaking naturally, for me, has to deal with speaking with clarity, with pronunciation, with proper intonation, enunciation. Speaking naturally means to speak with confidence, with ease. Speaking naturally is the ability to convey your thoughts, express your ideas, express your dreams. Speaking naturally is the ability to communicate with other people. Speaking naturally is the ability to talk about your desires, wishes, and wants. So what I'm going to do is, what I make a commitment to do, where I want the conversation with the ATW family learners to be, stop thinking natively. Stop thinking, speaking like a native, and speak naturally. Naturally over natively. Is natively a word? I think it is. And if it's not, I just made it up. That's right. Speaking naturally is what's important to me. And it has an opportunity to be important to you if you want it. Proud, satisfaction, content, happy, pleasure. Be proud of who you are, because you are speaking English. You are learning English, and you are making an investment in yourself. And speak naturally by following the elements of fluency: clarity, pronunciation, enunciation, stress, accuracy. And certainly at the end of the day, based on where you live, based on your situation, if you need to sound more native-like, that is your choice. You can do that. There are certain situations, I'm not dumb, I'm not naive. There are certain situations where you might have to speak more native-like. But remember, the English language does not discriminate. It's people that discriminate. Be proud of who you are. Give yourself a hand. Give yourself a hug. Because you are learning English, and you are on that journey to be the most authentic self, the best person that you can be. This is Teacher Will. This is the place where you and I, we learn together. How do we learn? Well, I hope we learn through motivation, inspiration, through English. Welcome to the ATW family if you're new. Click on that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so that when I drop a new video, you're made aware of it. Thank you very much. And remember, be proud of who you are.